Hi students, let us now take a look at the 2013 O-Level Paper 1 question 5. Okay, so over here we have a question related to binomial theorem. Okay, so the question goes, the coefficient of x cubed in the expansion of a minus x to the power of 5 plus 2 plus x to the power of 6, 70. Okay, find the value of the positive constant a. Right, so usually for this kind of question, one of the things that we always ask ourselves is, do we need to use the formula for the general term? Okay, so if you recall, let's say for a general expansion like a plus b to the power of n, the r plus 1 term will be n choose r, a to the power of n minus r, and b to the power of r. Okay, so how to answer this question is that we look at the terms inside the binomial. So over here we have the first term, over here we have the second term. Okay, same thing for the second binomial. Here is the first term, this is the second term, right? Okay, so if you look at the binomial, if only one of the term inside has an x, right? The other term is independent of x. Then you do not need to use the general formula for the general term. Okay, why is this so? Because now we want the x cubed term, right? Okay, so now in this case, the b is minus x. Let's say for this one, the b is the minus x, right? So if I want the x cubed term, then I automatically know I need to cube here. So that means r is going to be equals to 3. Okay, so I can straight away decide or identify what is the r. So I do not need you to use the formula for the general term. You will only use the formula for a general term if both of the terms in the binomial have x, and you cannot tell easily what is the term number okay, for which you have a term of a certain power. Okay, so in this case, x cubed. Okay, so in this case, we can straight away go ahead and find the x cubed term. So over here we have, okay, let's do one by one. X cubed term for a minus x to the power of 5. Okay, so it will be n choose 3. Okay, then after that we will have a to the power of 5 minus 3, then minus x to the power of 3. Okay, so if you work this whole thing out, okay, you should be able to get negative 10 a squared x cubed. Okay, so it's negative because bracket negative x cubed, it will be negative x cubed. Okay, so let's continue. So x cubed term for 2 plus x to the power of 6, okay, will be 6 choose 3. Okay, 2 to the power of 6 minus 3. Okay, then x to the power of 3. Okay, so if you work this out, okay, just use your calculator. 6 choose 3 times 2 to the power of 3 now. Okay, you will get 160 x cubed. Okay, so now that we know the two coefficients, we can just add it up and then you will be equals to 60. Okay, so once again, formulating an equation to solve for an unknown. So coefficient of x cubed as given in the question is 70. So let's sum it up, the two x cubed term plus 160 equals to 70. So negative 10 a squared will be equals to negative 90. So a squared will be equals to 9. So a will be either equals to 3 or negative 3. Okay, but in this case, they want the positive constant a, so this will be not applicable. Okay, so that means the only answer will be a equals to 3. All right. Okay, so this is for part 1, so not too difficult. So remember, if only one term in the binomial has x, right, then you do not need to use the formula for the general term. Okay, hence calculate the coefficient of x squared in the expansion. Okay, basically it's the same expansion. And now they want the coefficient of x squared. So we'll do the same thing. We can straight away zoom into the x squared term. All right. Okay, so scroll down. Here. Okay, so let's do the expansion. So let's straight away zoom in for the x squared term. So x squared term for, okay, now we know that a is 3, so I replace it with a 3. So we have this. Okay, so we have 5 choose 2. Okay, since we are now going for the x squared term, 5 to the 3 to the power of 5 minus 2, negative x squared. Okay, so if you calculate out, you will get 270 x squared, right? Okay, so the next one will be x squared term for 2 plus x to the power of 6. Okay, so with 6 choose 2, 2 to the power of 6 minus 2. Alright, then x squared. Okay, so if you calculate this out, you will get 240 x squared, right? So very quickly we'll get the answer. So coefficient of x squared term will be equals to 270 plus 240. So you get answer as the 510, right? Okay, so the learning point from this question is if only one term in the binomial has an x, we can straight away identify what is the term number, okay, that will give us the x to the power, the x term that we want now, okay, the x power term that we want. Okay, so in this case, for part 1, the x cubed term, for part 2, the x squared term, all right?